All right, what's up, Psoriasis Healing Warriors worldwide? Matt here, checking in with episode 2, Facebook Live. Hopefully, sound is coming through my microphone. Hopefully, the sound as clear as possible. I had a local coffee shop here for my high-speed internet, so there's going to be a little bit of background chatter and background noise. You know, I have many mobile offices around town, but anywho, I hope everyone is well out there and working on self-love and natural healing. And you know, I know psoriasis is quite a beast to get your mind and wrapped around and to understand. I know we have a lot of new warriors coming into the group, and you know, there's a lot of information to take in. There's a lot of great people in here, and they're all willing to love and support each other on this journey we're all on. And that's truly what it is. It's a journey. It's a path we're walking it hand in hand and doing it together. And that's the way to go. You know, powers and numbers. We can work on education and action. You know, action and then collaboration with each other on what's working, what's not. Suggestions, our stories. You know, there's so much power and inspiration in the stories. I see it, you know, it's coming through the group all the time, and you know, there's just so much power and so much inspiration in our narratives. Those are where the relation points are, and then that's where people find, oh, you know, this person's kind of like me, and oh, we're all dealing with this same thing. I'm not alone. You know, I'm not alone with this, not suffering with this, you know, by myself, and I can help somebody else who can relate to me who's experiencing the same pain, you know. So it's great to be a powerful community here, and I can't believe it, but we're 10,000 warriors strong now from all over the world. That's absolutely incredible. I mean, when I started this group a little over 3 years ago, I never imagined that. I just really was trying to start a safe place as a workshop, you know, as a gym for people to come together and take in the content information I put together and share any content they have and work, you know, get to work. And it's now blossomed and flourished into this beautiful support community, and it's fantastic. And I've met so many beautiful people. As I see y'all coming in on the side here, how y'all doing? Adrian, Mila, Linda, Allie, nice to see you guys. Hello from the UK and Tampa. There's Tandy, one of my angels. Without Tandy, I mean, this wouldn't be what it is. She's the driving force behind everything that we do here. And she works her tail off and loves everybody in this group endlessly, and works her tail off for her own health. And it's, you know, our health is in our hands, you know, and we accept that challenge here. That's what we're doing here, you know, getting in the game, not just taking our doctor's word for it or our professionals' words for it, doing our own research. We have all this, you know, all this information technology at our fingertips. There's lots of great information. There's lots of terrible information. That's another strength of the group. We bring all that information into the group, and we bounce it off of each other, and we see what's what, you know, what's good, what's okay, what's bad. And it's just, you know, it's just what makes it so beautiful. But yeah, major shout out to Tandy and Sabrina and Julie. You three, you lovely, powerful women and lovely angels that have helped me all along with this group and with everything we do. And out of your own time, out of your own accord, your own philanthropy, you know, never have I been able to give you a dime for your help. But you do it out of the love and endless care of your hearts. And it's just, yeah, you three, Tandy, Sabrina, and Julie, you know, any warriors in the group, whenever you see Tandy Hendricks Caldwell or Sabrina Gordon, Julie Morgan, give them love, say thank you. You know, it's, and along with the moderators too, like Jana and Brenda and the other moderators that help us keep the group safe and keep it clean, keep the, you know, keep the board nice and fresh and clean and real. It's just, I mean, there's only a select few of us that do a lot of work that you know, to help thousands, but it's beyond just the leaders of the group. All of us in here, all the thousands are helping the other thousands, and I can't say enough about those, you know, those warriors in here who are a positive, beautiful, inspirational example and influence on the others. You know, but that was one of the main things originally, was to create a place. I was just tired of going to other forums on the web, and it was very negative. You know, I understand there's pain, there's vulnerability, there's frustration, there's anger, there's fear, all these negative emotions, and I go through them myself. I'm still working on processing and letting go of all those negative emotions in my life. One of the many things that this journey of healing psoriasis has helped me with. But yeah, you know, there's a lot of that negative emotion on the web, but I wanted to have a place where, hey, look, we understand that, we embrace that part of it, but what we focus on in here is flipping the script, right? I mean, positive. It's a challenge, you know, and you want to go to work real hard on something, then it's great to have positive reinforcement, and that's what we do. Like Tandy said it there, it takes a tribe, you know, it takes a powerful clan of warriors. It really does. The group is in a beautiful place now. There's many, every time I'm scrolling down, looking through the countless conversations, for the most part I see positive reinforcement and support, even if it's the same questions coming over and over and over again. It's the same, you know, everybody's new to this though. It's their journey. They're new, they're coming in, they're asking questions that may have already been asked, but it's new to them. And it's important that we always show patience and humility, because that's, you know, those are two important virtues. And but yeah, 10,000 warriors strong. Major shout out to my admins, my special friends that we were there for each other every step of the way. And thank you to everybody who's positive in the group. And please remain positive, be nice, and if you ever feel like you know somebody's not is being mean or is being negative or is being aggressive or anything, please reach out to me or one of my admins or moderators at a private message or through my Facebook page. Send us a message. Let us know. You know, this is a neighborhood watch, so let us know, and we will do our best to talk with that person and make it right. Keep it safe and keep it as positive as possible. So yeah, great. You know, put your questions in the comments there. I want to do some question and answer in a little while. I want to chat about a few things. I want to kind of focus today on what I feel in my experience the causes of psoriasis can be, and then discuss some natural practices to help reverse those causes and point you in the right direction, maybe on some research, some books that I read that help me in every dimension. Before that, I just want to get everybody up to date on my journey, my story real quick. I'll try and keep this short because I know a lot of people ask about what, you know, Matt, where are you at now with your skin and how's your progress, and kind of up and down roller coaster of natural healing. And so, you know, obviously for me, it started, I first read Pagano's book back, 10 years ago, and I read it again, and I went in and out of his protocols, and they were very, very challenging, very difficult, but I did learn a lot, and I thank Dr. Pagano for getting me, starting to open my mind as to really thinking, well, maybe there's another way other than, you know, these steroid creams and methotrexate and this other stuff that my dermas are talking about. Maybe there's something I can do. And of course, after first couple times just reading Pagano's book, then I just felt guilty about everything I ate because I wasn't committing yet, right? So we kind of get in this space of starting to feel intuitively like we can do something about it and seeing the information and getting our minds on it, but then we're still not into it yet, and there's still not conviction yet. We're still kind of living our lifestyle and eating the way we always have, and so you start to feel guilty about it. I think it's part of the spectrum, you know. I think there's a spectrum. You start out, what is this that won't leave me alone on my skin? You go to your doctor sends you to a dermatologist. They kind of give you that conventional definition of the autoimmune disease that has no known cure, and you're going to have to manage it. So you go through that process. And then eventually at some point, maybe you think about, well, what are the other solutions? And then you go into that search, and hopefully these days you find there's a lot of great people on YouTube that are trying, and they make videos that you're just kind of getting this information. You're collecting information. You're trying to deal with the emotions of it. You're frustrated. You're in pain. You're bleeding. You're scratching. You're picking, and you just don't understand, why me? Why did this happen to me? Why does my immune system hate me? And why is my body attacking itself? And what I to help people with on that is to, even when it's, we're seeing the mirror, we see these plaques or spots, or even when we're bleeding, or even when we're uncomfortable and itchy and we're frustrated with our body and we can't believe that this would happen and our immune systems would start attacking us. And this is when it's so crucial to really start investigating self and treating self as that research project, that ongoing work in progress, to say, maybe there was a chain of events that led to this immune system and this imbalance and this malfunction. And maybe this isn't just random chance or some random genetic chance, or maybe there are causes and effect. And those were kind of the thoughts that I was having. And when I just got to the end of the road with the topical, steroid type treatments, and I knew they weren't good for me. And when I'd rubbed them on somewhere, they would spread other places, and I didn't feel good. Constant heartburn, and I had a constant acid reflux, and I was taking medication for that. And I was just in my 20s, and it hit me younger, 20 years old, right when I went to college. And I was taking tetracycline for my acne at the time. It was the first time I had ever taken a strong antibiotic, and I injured my knee, and I needed an ACL reconstruction surgery, so there was that severe trauma. I also had a bad strep infection to the throat right after I had a root canal. A dentist damaged my tooth and ended up destroying the nerve, so I had to have a root canal done on the tooth. And so I looked back on these times, and I started to connect these dots on this timeline of, maybe there's just severe traumatic times in my life, and they just so happen to be a domino effect, one after the other, over a span of 2 years. And I just think that my body got to a tipping point. It just got to the top of the bucket, started spilling over, and then this chronic situation was just how the body was dealing with it. And so, sure enough, about 6 months after the knee surgery and a subsequent illness that I had, and the anesthesia, the antibiotics you have to be on to go into surgery and all that, then the psoriasis started on the scalp, and it was very mild, and I managed it with topical steroids, and that against my intuition, but I went with it. And then it started slowly showing up, and it's remained mild for a few years. And then 5 or 6 years later, I went to my inverse psoriasis on my genitals, and I started to really freak out, and I was rubbing steroids all over that, very sensitive parts of my body, and just chasing it around with the topicals. And I got ill, and then after the illness, it became, I guess, moderate. And then about 5 years later, about 10 years into it, I got ill again after I went into a tanning bed, and then it became very severe. And then I went back to the doctor begging for something else other than the topicals, and that's when he gave me methotrexate, and I was excited to have a pill to use. And so I was starting to eating those like candy, and it's somewhat went away, but then I was just, oh man, my liver, around my lower right rib cage, and my soreness in my lower back around my kidneys, and I was just had no energy. I couldn't get out of bed, and it was ridiculous. I was 29 years old, and I could barely live through the day, and I felt like I was a pretty above average healthy person. Worked out a lot, played a lot of sports. I did eat some greens, and I drink water, and my diet was terrible, relatively speaking, to what I've learned since then. But you get into that mind frame. We're like, oh, I'm above healthy. How could this happen to me? I'm athletic. I'm in good shape, But really, it was this myriad of severe traumatic episodes, and even more recently, I've been digging even deeper beyond that time in my life, beyond the root canal, beyond the surgery, beyond that time, and going even farther back into some subconscious wounds, some deep anger, deep pain, and deep negativity that I just buried away under cliches or under, oh, this is the type of personality I am. I'm a type A. I'm ambitious. I work really, I got to work hard to play hard. All this stuff that I kind of developed this personality type that I created for myself. This persona. I've been digging down through that, releasing a lot of that stuff, releasing all these mindsets that I have of the type of person that I am. So I'm jumping around chronologically a bit, but let's get into the natural healing time here as far as my story is concerned. So after methotrexate it started to stop working, and marginally was the effects were diminishing, and went back to my doctor. He's like, well, let's go from 8 every Friday to 16 every Friday. I was like, I was uninsured at the time. I was like, I can't afford, I don't want to do this. I took the prescription home, and I sat there and I looked at it, and I was just reminiscing back on Pagano's book, and I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. So I took the prescription and threw it in the trash, and I started to make a commitment to myself to I'm gonna start getting in the game. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm gonna grab Pagano's book. I'm gonna look up for some other books, and I gave myself a 6-month goal. Say, okay, I'm gonna, because of course at that time, giving up what I wanted to eat and drink was like this crazy sacrifice. The lattes, the Dr. Pepper, it was just the Subway, the sandwiches, the meats, huge amount of meat. So it's like, okay, I'm going to set it 6 months, and I'm going to get into this. I was going back to Mexico in that 6-month period. I knew when I was down there it would be a great place to kind of recluse myself and focus. And so, threw away the prescription, read Pagano's book again. I started to write down my game plan. And then just before I went down to Mexico, somebody else came across me and gave me this book that would really work for them on some natural healing aspects. And that book I really liked. It was more simple as far as how it was laid out and things to focus on. It was just, look, alkaline water, juicing, chlorophyll, greens, proper oils, real unrefined sea salts, help the body detox, this and that. I was like, okay, well, I built my plan around that book, and it was important. I promised myself that I wasn't going to be too hard on myself. I promised myself that I was going to allow myself some leadway. I wasn't going to try and be some perfectionist, and this fed into my personality type. It's like, I do everything perfectly, I do everything right, I ace the test, but natural healing is just, that doesn't work that way. It's not, this is a constant compromise with self and the mind. You can't just go cold turkey and flip a switch and say, okay, now I'm this way. It's counterintuitive. Everything's on a practical shift, a spectrum. And so I made these agreements with myself. I agreed that I wouldn't be too hard on myself. I agreed I would do this on a practical transition, a nice, constant spectrum shift. And I had no idea that healing would be what it was, but I just said, look, I can't live like this anymore. That was kind of the bottom line. I can't, because before that I was promising myself that, well, when my business makes enough money and I save away a few $1,000s, and then I'll stop working so much and I'll start spending my time on my healing. Well, it got to the point where the symptoms of my skin were so bad I couldn't work anymore. I could barely type. I couldn't move. So I was just like, this is all this. Okay, well, when I get rich enough, I'll do this stuff. It wasn't percolating with me anymore. It was no value there. All of a sudden, it flipped, and like, well, now my day has got to be built around this, and that doesn't happen overnight. We have lives, we have jobs, we have, I was lucky enough at the time I was alone or individual. I didn't have children or dependents, so that part of my day I didn't have to, but most of us do. So we have to build this around our families and our family time and our children and our wives and our husbands and our, everybody that relies on us. So it must be on a spectrum. You got to start making agreements with yourself. That's what I started doing. I opened my journal and I was started writing down these. Okay, I'm making an agreement, like a business agreement. I'm not going to be too hard on myself. I'm going to do a practical shift. If I have cravings, I'm not always going to fight cravings. I want to have something I enjoy to eat. I'm going to have something I want to eat. But I'm going to work on a spectrum of less of what I want and more of what my body needs. That was the bottom line agreement. And I even signed it. It's silly. I signed it, and I kept it. And sure enough, the subsequent months were challenging, and but I stuck to it. I did the best I could every day. I bought a juicer. I started buying much more vegetables at the store. I made sure to wash them. And I just started using this juicer. I was like, I'm gonna just juice down some greens and put a couple fruits in there to make it, get it past my tongue and try and do a juice every day. Eventually habits develop, right? So the juicing eventually became a habit. Every time I took my lunch break from work, I'd make my juice, and eventually what I was kind of realized is it was therapeutic because it forced me to take a lunch break. I was building my own business, so lunch breaks were, I didn't have lunch breaks. I devoured something at my desk and went right back to it. And this making a juice, preparing fresh foods was forcing me away from my computer, which was mean I was getting away from the electromagnetic toxins. I was getting up, stretching, we're using my juicer. It would take about an hour. I'd drink my juice while I cleaned it. So I got a nice habit forming there. My other habit was the water. I bought a BPA-free, bottle and just kept it around me all the time. I got to a point where I felt naked without my water bottle, and then that habit built in real good. And I was squeezing in some lime and lemon that I read from the book, and so those are the two first kind of, if you want to call them dietary lifestyle habits that I built. One of the most important parts of the agreement was I was not going to try and measure my results every day. I wasn't going to stare at my skin every day and be like, ooh, it's a little better. Oh, it's getting worse. Oh, it's a little better. So it's getting worse. I promised I would, maybe every 2 weeks or a month, I would measure my progress. And try to measure progress not only on my skin, but internally. Was I feeling better? How about the heart? I wrote down all these things, other symptoms I had that I just ignored forever, like heartburn after big meals and indigestion and constipation and how many times I actually had a bowel movement. And I started measuring this stuff and realizing that, it was not that often. I was backed up. And those were other kind of measuring sticks, metrics to keep going other than just, obsessing about my skin, which is what we do, right? We just obsess about our skin just constantly. And so I kind of got the juicing going, got the water going, took the edge off. Hey, Jeremy, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Hey, Kimberly. Hi, Gail. Imran, what's up? Maya. And then as it's kind of like, I didn't want to make it too difficult on myself. I wasn't a chef going in, so for my dinners and stuff, I just tried to always have an avocado. It filled me up. I put garlic in it. I kind of was very militaristic about the eating. Some are very into the recipes, and that's great. And I've become that way more and more. But at the beginning, I was just I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to have the same grocery list, get down to a certain set of plant foods. Always have limes in the house or lemons, and go at it that way. And I was kind of, as I went on, I noticed that I didn't really need these 3 massive meals per day. I was still feeling okay, so I just did liquids. I was drinking water in the morning. I still would have a little bit of black coffee, but I was just using a little bit of stevia. I wasn't doing the lattes anymore. I cut out the milk, cut out the sugar, and just did a couple cups of black coffee. I was like, you know what? I want to see if I like the actual coffee or if I just love all the sugary, thick, rich fat, of the stuff that's in it. And I did. I still enjoyed the fragrance of coffee and and the taste a little bit, but I was drinking much less of it and not using, just using a little bit of stevia and cutting out the dairy. Um, but that was also a spectrum of time. If I wanted a latte on a Saturday morning, I gave myself a latte. It just was breaking the habit of getting it every day, every morning, satisfying what the mind's craving, what I wanted. Like I said, that was the spectrum of shift, shifting away from what I was thinking I wanted so much of into more of what I felt that I needed. So away from thinking of my wants, more into feeling my needs. And these are skills you develop as you heal. This is why it's a journey. This is a project. It's a self project. You really got to put it all on the board. You got to write. You got to lay it all out on the whiteboard. However works for you at the office. However you're successful in life. Apply those same skills to your success in natural healing. Whatever works for the individual is the key to sustaining this practice. It's an individual practice. We're all together doing this journey together, and it's great because it's inspiring. But when it comes down to it, and you're by yourself, that's when the real work is done. And how do I succeed in life? What am I good at? How do I hit my goals? And do the same approach for your natural healing. But just come back to those rules. Look, I'm not going to judge myself one way. I'm not going to say I'm this type of person or I can't stand the taste of this vegetable. I'm going to give everything a shot and be easy on myself. So I think that's kind of why I was successful at the beginning. I just one little habit, and not saying, okay, I'm never going to have this or that again. I'm never going to have a piece of pizza again. I'm never going to have a beer again. No extremes, right? No cold turkey, no extremes. I'm going to stay in the middle. Stay in the middle. Stay a little bit balanced. Be realistic, and just work on a transition, a spectrum of transition. So, and sure enough, I developed habits, and 6 months in, starting off the day with my greens water, my lemon water, and filling up my bottle and keeping it going, and my alkaline water, and having my juice for lunch. This became second nature, and of course, my body started to feel great. I started to feel great. At first, the lemon water was making the heartburn worse. I was like, oh well, maybe lemon water is not doing it for me, but I wasn't. The symptoms weren't too severe. I wasn't vomiting or nauseous. So I was like, I'm going to keep going with it because the book said that when you first start out with, especially with things like lemon water, that you're going to have a crisis. Things are going to get worse, before they get better. So if you have heartburn, your heartburn might get worse. If you have gas, your gas might get worse. But stick with it as long as you're not, going to the ICU or nauseous or passing out or vomiting. I was like, all right, well, I'm not any of that, so I'll stick with it. And I stuck with the lemon water and the chlorophyll water. And sure enough, after the heartburn got worse for a while, then it started to fade away. And of course, I was keeping out. I used to eat a lot of meat, so I was keeping out most meat, and I used to mindlessly eat cheese and dairy. Now think about that. I was just being mindful of keeping the dairy out, being mindful of keeping the gluten out. I used to be mindless about whatever noodles or whatever bread or whatever. I used to just go till I was starving and then overeat. That was what I did all the time. And so I just stuck with it, and eventually those gut symptoms started to go away. I started to get a very consistent bowel movement. I was frequently urinating. The heartburn went away, and I've never had heartburn ever since then. The reflux, that I used to take acids for all the time. As Tandy's mentioning here, specifically biologically speaking, absolutely, it's a low stomach acid issue. The body, the hydrochloric acid production starts to go down as the stomach gets weaker, and that's a big problem because that hydrochloric acid, of course, breaks down food. It also kills off bad bacteria like H. pylori. There's so many reasons why a good level of hydrochloric acid and pepsin in the stomach is extremely important. And it's very basic concepts of why a poor diet of too many fats and too many refined fats and refined sugars and gluten start to break that process down. And then if we take antacids, that's counterintuitive. Just like steroids are counterintuitive to the immune system. In order to develop immunity, we can't suppress immunity. You just can't. You can't suppress immunity. I mean, you know, whether you're working at this as managing an autoimmune disease or whether you're working at this as, well, what is my immune system responding to, and I'm going to get rid of that and see what happens. Either way, you're not going to suppress immunity. You can try. You can certainly try. But I don't feel that you can suppress the immune system for too long. You can take things that lower inflammation. That helps, absolutely. You know, good natural things. Turmeric is great. And muscadine grape seeds are great for lowering inflammation. But you got to support immunity. You got to support the immune system. You have to work on the other systems that affect the immune system, and the digestive system it affects it. You know, poor stomach health that leads to poor liver health, an overworked liver that leads to a calcified gallbladder, that leads to an overtaxed pancreas, that leads to an acidic intestinal tract, harbors overgrowth of candida, it harbors overgrowth of bad bacteria, and as soon as that's happening, then you get that permeable gut wall, right? You get that leaky gut situation, and your blood starts to get affected. Now you're starting to affect another system, the cardiovascular system. Liver's not filtering the blood that goes into the heart very well anymore. Then cholesterol has to build up to protect the heart. And the cholesterol calcifies, and then you have hardened cholesterol, and now you're having cardiovascular issues. And the other important system is the lymphatic system. That's really our sewer system, and it kind of goes unspoken a lot, but that's kind of where the breakdown begins, is the lymphatic system isn't functioning, the kidneys aren't filtering, the bowel is clogged up, and the body can't eliminate. Really, at the end of the day, the human body is two flows. It's absorption of nutrients is the inflow, and it's the elimination of acidic toxins and waste. That's the outflow. That's what the body does every day. That's what the liver is in charge of. Every time we breathe in something that has poisons in the air or pesticides, the liver has to filter them out. Every time we drink water that has lead or copper in it by accident we don't know of, the liver has to filter that out. Every time we eat junk food that's full of hydrogenated fats and refined sugars, the liver's got to filter all that stuff out. None of that's functional for nutrient absorption. It blocks the absorption. That's why gluten is so bad. Gluten is a sticky paste. It coats the gut, and you can't absorb nutrients. That's why it's a bad situation. Dairy is the same thing. Dairy is inflammatory because it coats the gut. It feeds bad bacteria. It causes inflammation in the gut. It gives you all kinds of gut issues. Gives you all kinds of skin issues. And but really, that's what the body is. It's this flow of absorption and elimination. Absorption, elimination. And that really, I think, is the first phase of any natural healing protocol, is to get those systems functioning. Get the lymphatic system functioning, get the kidneys healthy, get the adrenal glands pumping and firing. And that's what a good, clean diet is all about. I mean, you know, we're not just doing this diet out of gritting our teeth and drudgery. We're doing this with a clear and pristine purpose of helping our body system start to function well, the way they were intended to function. You know, the way they functioned for thousands of years before we started pumping in tons and tons and tons of to-go food and fast food and freezer food and sugar. And really, that's what we're doing. That's what we're supporting the liver. We're supporting immunity. We're supporting digestion, and we're working towards nutrient absorption, correcting those nutritional deficiencies that are very important for nutrient absorption, the B vitamins, and then, you know, the detox, the elimination vitamin, the vitamin C, you know, very good for elimination. Another reason why lemon water is so important, lime water, is they help eliminate, they help the kidneys start moving, they cleanse the liver out. There's so many reasons why lemons and limes are very good. They're full of trace minerals. They're full of glucose, bioflavonoids, that's the bioavailable vitamin C, but they're very powerful antiseptic. So at the beginning, you're drinking lemon and lime water, really analyze it and see, well, is this an effect of what the lemon and lime is doing in the body, or am I allergic to lemon and lime and citrus? Because I understand that citrus shows up in a lot of allergy tests and food intolerance tests, and I get that. And I'm not saying, you know, ignore your food allergy test and keep drinking lemon water. No way. Always do what's best for you. I'm always suggesting based on my experience and working with others, but overall, I see a pattern when it comes to lemon and lime water, to alkaline-based water, that there is a period at the beginning for pretty much everybody of it doesn't feel good to drink it. If you have heartburn, it gets worse. If you had indigestion issues, it gets a little worse because that water pumps in. So give it a shot, give it a chance, stick with it for a bit, and see how you're doing. Because a lot of times we're dealing with endotoxins, which are byproducts of bacteria in the gut, the stuff they give off, excrete. And when getting rid of that, there's symptoms involved with that. So give it a shot, give it a chance, stick with it for a bit, clean up your diet for a bit, try and keep out the at the beginning more so, keep out the pork, the red meat, and be mindful of what you're eating for a while. If you can try an almond milk or coconut milk instead of a cow's milk in the morning, if you're into the milk, if you're into cereal, do these little substitute things for a while. If you can find a couple gluten-free cereal options or breakfast options, be easy on yourself. Don't say, okay, I'm never going to have the bran flakes I love and go over to eating fruit for breakfast, but introduce some fruit. See if you can have a 1 or 2 mornings a week instead of your cereal with cow's milk and your cup of coffee on the side with cow's milk and your processed orange juice, you switch over to an actual orange, some coconut milk, and maybe an herbal tea with some raw honey. See what you can do. Give yourself a few days and then see if you actually enjoy it. And maybe you can have cantaloupe and a banana for breakfast and see what happens there and build a habit around that and kind of develop things around that. But it's just at the beginning when you're focusing on bringing in lots of pure water. When I say pure water, what I mean is knowing the source of your water the best you can. If you can get a steam distilled source of water from a spring source, an BPA-free bottle, that's great, because not all water is the same at all. Not all water is very, very different, and very popular waters that are well known and easily available are sometimes very acidic and not really providing any benefit for the body. It's just flowing through you and out. If you're drinking your tap water at home, try to filter it. If you have a well, and you had your well water tested, that's important. Get your water. If you're doing tap water or well water, get it tested. Make sure that the pipes aren't leaking copper into it. Make sure that there's no pesticides coming down the hillside to your water supply. And the reason to do this is that, when you're trying to help the body eliminate backed up toxins, whether they're heavy metals or pesticides or DDT or herbicides, you don't want to be introducing more of it. I'm working with Dr. Michael Lebowitz, and I've been using some some plant minerals, and he's like, well, look, ask him for a mineral analysis, and sure enough, there was a lot of aluminum in them. And he's like, well, if your goal is heavy metal elimination, then you don't want to be even if it's natural aluminum from the Earth's crust, it's counterintuitive to your process. It's a constant learning process. I digress, but back to my story. Try and finish that up. So I was 2012 October. I started my natural healing. That's when I made the agreements with myself, and I signed the contract, and I started the juicing and the things I was talking about earlier, and I got into a great habit of doing a juice every day, drinking 2, 3 to 4 liters of water every day with either lemon or chlorophyll in it. And having an avocado at night, having a salad almost every night, making a vegetarian type dishes, bringing in sweet potatoes, bringing in garlic, bringing in ginger root to my juice. And at about 12 months in, I started to feel lots of soreness inside. My lymph glands were swelling up, and I could barely turn my head. I thought I was sleeping wrong, but it persisted in my shoulder. And it's like, this is odd, So I was scared, I was nervous that I was getting worse, or I was hurting myself. So I found some research on symptoms of healing and what's known as healing crisis and healing crises. And they talked a lot about, like Dr. Walter Last, talked a lot about these types of lymphatic issues and swollen nodes and swollen glands. I had swelling behind my ear and couldn't turn my neck real well. I had internal pains going on that were all over the body. My ankles would swell up. My wrists would swell up. As this was going on, my spots were lightening. For the first time ever, my skin was calming down. It wasn't so red and so angry. It was more pinkish and not so bad. And so I stuck with it. I was like, hey, I'm having some pains, but at least things are different. At least this is different. And at least I'm doing something about it. And then it was about a year in, 12 or 13 months, I started to get lots of rashes on the skin. There were rashes on my elbows, rashes around the old plaques on my arms, and going down my legs, and rashes going down my neck, and they were kind of oozy, and I would have splits, and it was pretty painful. And so but I had a doctor down there I was seeing, and and I was working with that doctor, and she was into natural healing. And so I would go check with her, and she's like, "You're fine. Your vitals are checking out. You're not dying. So let's just stick with it and stick with what you're doing." And she gave me some natural ointments, some Tepez Cahoite, which the Mayans use. I was rubbing it on, and that was soothing. And there was some spots where I could only use Vaseline and coconut oil because it was so bad. That persisted for about 6 months. But as that, and about April 2014, as the rashes started to fade down, the spots were disappearing, and my skin was becoming really healthy. And that got me really excited. I was really attached to my progress there. I was really attached to the outcome, and I thought that diet was it. Hey, this is it. I've done this diet long enough. I've cleared out these infections that I knew that I had, the old strep from the strep throat infection, and this is it. And I was super excited. But I didn't get to the bottom of it. I still had a couple of spots, and I still was a little off balance with my skin, and but I was egotistically ecstatic. I mean, it was certainly 95% better, and I thought I was done. Foolishly thought I was done, and but I hadn't at that time dealt with other things. I didn't even know what heavy metal toxicity was yet. I didn't even know. I wasn't researching deeply into mold yet, and I wasn't working so much on stress reduction yet, and I still had mind work to do that I wasn't focusing on yet. I just was doing diet. That's it. Diet for psoriasis. Diet heals psoriasis, and it did. It did a huge amount. Diet's a massive part, but it is just a part of the puzzle. And I learned this at this time, and I learned it the hard way because life hit me in the teeth. Went through a major stressful episode. My business started to fall apart. My business partner was in a losing fight with cancer. God rest her soul, Catherine. I love you. And my other business partner was her husband, Ron. Ron, I love you, bro. Mad love. And it was rough. I had to leave Mexico and move back home. I had to my business. I had to basically just close it down. And so, needless to say, the stress from this was awful, and I didn't have the level of discipline that I have now, and I didn't really slip off of my diet too far, but it was a mix of that episode and also the egotistical, oh, well, I'm done, I'll still do the water and everything, juice when I can, but obviously I'm done with the psoriasis, and it was a double whammy, needless to say. I mean, we all have our stories, we all go through stress, and we all suffer loss, and it hit me hard, and the symptoms came back real hard, and I real hard. This was about, I was clear from April 14 to about January 15, and I kind of fell into a bad kind of misery, and then of course as the symptoms came back, that was just it was hard. I was all the doubt, all the fear, all these wounds that I had not addressed yet, just took me over, and wounds that I had way before I had skin issues, my whole life. Doubt, negativity, anger, fear, aggression, viciously aggressive, and then now I had all these people relying on me, and I took on that pressure, which didn't help, and so from about January, February, and then in March, April 2015, I had a huge outbreak. I got really ill, and then my skin exploded, And I was flagellating for months, and I finally recouped about, I would say, I went in August of 2015 and had major dental work done. I had severe, impacted wisdom teeth. The root canal was causing me all kinds of issues. The same root canal I was talking about that was part of the genesis of psoriasis to begin with. So I went in and had like 6 teeth removed in August, extreme trauma. When they pulled the root canal out, they found a large cyst behind it, so they released that, which of course, then my face and my scalp broke out. But then I also kind of had an intuitive moment, like, oh, you know, I always knew this root canal was a problem, and I had done research on, followed a guy who wrote a lot about endotoxins and root canals and getting them all, you know, them being a cause of psoriasis. So there was like a small victory in this cloud of confusion there when they got that tooth out. My gums healed up. I said, okay, all right, I'm going to rally. You know, I got another fundamental thing done in my body that needed to be done. A lot of trauma right now, but I'm healing from that. And I'm going to go not just diet, but I was going to be more comprehensive at the time. I was going to do more work with my mind. So I started seeking out some spiritual teachers, a couple monks, some Christian leaders, any books I could get my hands on that were about, you know, books on meditation, extending more on yoga, breathing exercise. I wanted to be more holistic, more encompassing than just the diet stuff that I had worked with and had success through the first phase. And yeah, and then this phase 2 of this journey, it's been beautiful because once again, psoriasis has been such a great teacher as I become more willing student. You know, more willing each day, less gritting my teeth, and more willing to accept what I'm doing, embrace the process, surrender to the process, and you know, work on letting go of negative emotions, replacing all the criticism with more love. You know, looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, bro, I love you, man. You know, I approve of you. I approve of myself. I'm good. I'm good with where I'm at. I'm so much better for what I've been through. And you know, and not only that, but all the amazing, beautiful people that this process, this journey had brought into my life. You know, it's just willing and focusing my intellect and my mind and my emotional state on the positive aspects of this. And my body's been responding very well to that. Am I still red? Do I still have spots all over? Absolutely. Are they getting better every day? Absolutely. You know, I'm clearing up. I'm making progress every day. Parts of my body that were completely red and inflamed going after this phase 2 outbreak are now clear, nice, healthy olive skin. Definitely new sets of healing crisis symptoms, lots of white pustules, acne, pimple-type pustules around the spots. That's the major symptom of this phase 2, lots of that. But I have been using things that help the body chelate and focusing on removing heavy metals. I worked with a kinesiologist, and we tapped in on heavy metals being a major issue. And no matter how clean your diet is, if you're dealing with heavy toxins, there's things that you can use that are very good at binding and eliminating those things. So you can so I started focusing on supplementation, specific supplementation, finding the best probiotic, using things like zeolite and takasume that help the body bind and eliminate these heavier toxins. And those have been really helping. Making sure I put turmeric, you know, organic turmeric on my salads, and making sure I get that as part of my diet. Consistent, you know, garlic and sweet potatoes, these strong antimicrobial foods. But mainly, apart from the diet, was giving myself some me time every day. And this is kind of the takeaway from today's session is me time. What do I mean by that? Carving out, I don't care if it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes a day, carve it out, okay? Work on this. Make an agreement with yourself. I'm going to carve out 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes a day to sit down or go take a walk, listen to birds, Get some sunshine on your face if you can, when you can, all the time. Anytime the sun is shining, go get in it. If it's a private place, strip down naked and get that sun all over you. And get in nature if you can. But if you can't, if you're stuck at the office, if you're working overtime, you're working late hours, go find a place outside the office building. Take a time out, a little me time out, and start with some deep breathing, right? So and some affirmations. And this comes from a book that I'll put a lot of links and more information. But I'm sure many of you have read this book. It's been around for decades by Louise Hay, called "You Can Heal Your Life." And she's given me some nice affirmation work to focus on. We need things to work on, right? We need things to work on. We can't just say, oh, okay, I'm going to start meditation. You really can't just start meditation. You got to work at it. Just like I explained before with the diet. You don't just wake up and say, okay, now I do nothing but juice. But she gave me some things to work on. So I'm going to say this affirmation right now that I memorized from her book. And this is an affirmation that she gives specifically for psoriasis and for skin issues. So, affirmation and a deep breath in between. I am alive to the joys of living. Full exhale. I deserve and accept the very best in life. I love and approve of myself. I lovingly protect myself with thoughts of joy and peace. The past is forgiven and forgotten. I am free in this moment. All is well in my world. Very nice. Just a positive affirmation. Look in the mirror and try it. I know for us it's very challenging to look in the mirror sometimes. We gotta look and see red on our face, scalp chunks and all this stuff. Look through that. We are not our skin. We are so much more. Look through that and speak to yourself in a loving, in a positive reinforcement way. I think about how often you're critical of yourself. The self-criticism that just drives so much of our success in life, based on, well, I'm not good enough, I can do better. I should have done that better. I'm never going to make that mistake again. All these extreme criticisms of ourselves. It becomes so subconscious, and we get a lot done doing that, but at what cost, Even when I was doing this through phase one, I was doing all this diet stuff, I was doing it so competitively with myself, and it wasn't balanced. It's like, at what cost is my healing? It's costing me still. It wasn't sustainable yet. It wasn't all coming from this sustainable, renewable force within. It was more so driven on the X's and O's and being a competitive. That's how I used to get things done. But through these affirmations now, and through working with some meditations and some principles and precepts, now I feel like I'm getting closer to the full puzzle. And most of this big piece is not accepting psoriasis. I don't accept that I'm going to be covered in red and flaking and bleeding my whole life. I've proven to myself that I can do something about it, right? But embracing where I am, surrendering to the reality of the present moment. And when I work on this and I become more comfortable in the present moment, through this me time I'm talking about, it doesn't have to be a meditation. It's 5-10 minutes, right? No input. Turn off the devices. Turn off the phones and the tablets. Stop checking my updates. And either sit down or lay down on a yoga mat or take a walk. Start with some deep breathing. And off of the deep breathing, get into a present object, which is your breath. If I had to ask you a question, what is the one thing you cannot live without? What is the one thing, if you don't have it for a few seconds or a minute or two, you're dead and gone? It's not water. It's not food. It's not anything that we think we want or need. It's breath. We have to bring in the oxygen. And then think about your breathing. Just ponder it. Just like ponder so many important things in life that the mind runs crazy about. Past, future, past, future, past, future, past, future. Do this, did that, do this, did that, do this, did that, do this, did that. A million times a minute. Take all that to the side for a second and take your brilliant, intuitive, incredibly intelligent mind and focus it just on the breath and say, and analyze it for a little bit. Just analyze just your breath. Like, think about the fact that we breathe just enough to stay alive. And then think about when you're tense, when stress hits you, right? That moment that stress hits you, the moment that you realize, I forgot that thing, I missed that meeting, I failed that person, I failed this project, I lost that money, I lost my job. That anxiety, the tension, you tense up. And the breath is affected by this greatly. And the beauty of it is that we can control the breath. It's a simple mechanism that we can control. And it's the ultimate present object. It's the concrete foundation of the present moment. You can come back to your breath and rely on the oxygen that's coming in. You can go outside into nature where the oxygen is much better for you. Breathe that in. Breathe in the oxygen those trees and plants and flowers are giving off, instead of being inside breathing in the condensed, recycled, air-conditioned air, which is positively charged. Regardless of that, analyze that breath. What can I do with my breath right now to relax myself? I don't need anything else. I don't need any water bottles or any input or anything else. I can sit here wherever I am or go walk somewhere wherever I am and remove tension with working with my breath. And so I've been following a teacher who's helped me greatly on this. Something, of course, we take for granted. But when we stop taking it for granted and we truly analyze the oxygen ringing in and out, and then we feel the effect it has on the body as we calm down with it, with some deep breaths, some focused breathing, and releasing the entire breath, and feeling that sensation of relaxation and calmness. Okay, so yeah, I forgot about that meeting. All right. I did. I shouldn't have forgot about that. I can't believe I missed that on my planner, but it's okay. I'm still here. I'm still alive. You know, company's still making money. And I still have my job. I'm still okay. The world's going to provide. I'm good. And then do another deep breath, 10 more. This has just been helping me extensively. And the more I go back to this me time, the me time out, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the easier life is getting. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah, sure, the world's still throwing me curveballs every minute, every day. Yeah, sure, I'm still, messing up, making mistakes. But what I'm not doing is criticizing and attacking myself for it. As much as we want to define psoriasis as an autoimmune disease and the immune system is attacking itself, how often do we attack ourselves? How often does our mind attack ourselves? How often do our thoughts attack ourselves? How many of us can admit to the fact that this is the way we live, and we don't even actually analyze the way we live? We just live this way. We just live on a basis of self-criticism. I'm not good enough. I could do better. I'm too fat. I'm too lazy. I'm too skinny. I'm too weak. I'm too strong. I'm too busy. I can't do this diet thing. It's too hard. I'm too weak. I can't stop the chocolate. I can't. I'm too. Breathe through it. Let those thoughts come. Let them go, though. Just as easy. Let them come. Stay on that object. The one thing you can't live without. Get down to that core. And then start to rebuild your thought processes from there. And the more I can rebuild my thought processes and stay present while I'm doing them, not let my mind run off into the future and the past. So I got to do this thing that day and this thing that, and I did this thing that day and I did that thing that day. And stay right here, right now in this me time, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Reset, little reboot. And then when the systems start to reboot, your mental computer's restarting. It goes to a default, right? That default is what I work on myself a lot now. And when I reboot and I'm go back to my default, what is my default? No more criticism in the default. No more anger, frustration, or I can't stand this thing I can't change. None of that's in the default. default is that affirmation I did earlier. I approve myself. I'm good. I love myself, man. I'm good. I'm beautiful. You know, I am healing. All present tense when you're doing this. I am healing. I am strong. I approve myself. I love myself. I'm good. So as you're rebooting, you go to this default. Keep breathing deeply. And I've noticed that even in a really stressful episode, in that moment, that stress is building up. It's threatening me, threatening my body. I reboot, go back to my positive default, and okay, I'm good. And I've expanded this me time from 5 minutes. I used to think it was silly and petty and didn't work, of course. You go through all that. When you get through all that and you realize it does have a strong effect, and you give it more time, give it 15 minutes, now I'm able to work on some meditation. And meditation is crucial. Crucial. What do I mean by what is meditation for me? Meditation for me is what I explained earlier, going through your sets of thoughts. That's where it starts. You get to a quiet space, eliminate all the input, no music on, no input, no devices around. If that's walk in nature, great. If that's alone in your room, great. But get the me time going. Work through that first set of thoughts. First set of thoughts for me, which I think is for many people, is the to-do list. I call it the to-do list. You have this just miles a minute thoughts about your calendar and your job and your family and when you got to pick up your kids and when you got to be to work tomorrow. When is that meeting and when is my kid's birthday party on Saturday and when do I have to get to church on Sunday and when is that football game I can't wait to see and how's my team doing, how's my stocks doing and what my portfolio looking like. Get rid of all of that mess. Let it come, let it go, let it come, let it go. Just promise yourself that every time it comes, you're going to let it go. This is the first step of meditation for me. I just promise myself that, okay, it's going to keep coming, you know. And they're great thoughts, too. They're not all bad thoughts. It's excitement about this thing you're about to do. You're going to a concert next Friday. You can't wait to see a friend you haven't seen in a long time flying next weekend. Those are great thoughts, too. I'm not saying forget about them forever. But right now, timeout time, you're promising yourself you're going to let them go. And then the good thoughts come in, and then these other thoughts start coming in, you know, the critical ones, the I'm not good enough ones, those start to come in. Okay, now's when the promise becomes more important. Then let those go too. All right. You know what, maybe I'm not so critical of myself. Maybe I'm not so type A, maybe I'm not so crazy. Let those go, and keep on your breathing. Go back to your breath, see if you can keep your mind focused on your breath for 2 deep breaths, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. And so you get to the to-do list stuff, then you get through the criticism stuff. This is where I'm falling short thoughts, and this is where I could do better thoughts. The next level for me is the future and the past. So we have no control over. The stuff that just put it on your calendar, and when it comes up, deal with it then. Prepare, but don't obsessively, compulsively think about the future and the past. What can you do? Tell me one thing you can do about what's happened in the past. What can you do? Is there a DeLorean in your driveway? Is Doc Brown outside with Michael J. Fox? So that you're going to jump in the DeLorean, you're going to go back in time and fix that thing? No way. And even if you could go back in time, you would mess up somewhere else and change your future. The future is the past. The past is the future. The only constant about the past and the future is you can't do anything about them right now. Not one thing. You don't really know what the future holds. You can't do anything to change the past. So this is part of my promise. So I breathe myself through the future and the past. To-do list, self-criticism, future and past. Okay, now where am I? Now where are many of us? Now we get to these really powerful thoughts about what? What do we start thinking about? What we start doing, right? We start scratching ourselves to death because the psoriasis comes. And this is the monster. This is the beast of many faces in our mind, is the psoriasis and all the negative concepts around. This is where next level meditation goes for me. Because I'm sitting there meditating and I'm scratching myself. But my meditation, I don't say stop scratching yourself, because what does that do? It shoots me back into the self-criticism, right? I don't want to go back to a level I already got past during this me time. My me time is way too precious. I might only have like 3 or 4 minutes left before I have to get in the car and go do that thing on my calendar. So I try not to back up into the other tiers, I try to stay there with the psoriasis and just understand and surrender and accept the fact that there's these symptoms mentally, physically, emotionally with psoriasis that are inherent, that are here right now. That's part of my reality. So what I try to do instead of scratching it while I'm sitting there quietly, I just try to instead of scratching, rub myself, right? Just try to like, I started, as I'm breathing deeply, I was like, my body, I love my body, I'm so abusive to my body. I'm scratching it and picking it and bleeding all the time and rubbing steroids all over it. I don't do that anymore, but some of us are. And I'm doing all this stuff to try and hide this. And my body is such a beast of burden. I'm just going to, instead of scratching, I'm just start rubbing as I breathe deeply and as I work through these intrusive thoughts of the psoriasis and all the crap that goes along with it. And this is where the work, you're going to know where the work needs to be done when it comes to meditation. You're going to know where the work needs to be done because it's going to be that tier of thoughts you can't get past. For my first few months doing it, I could not get out of the to-do list. So no matter how long I sat there, I'm like, when am I going to be done with this? When can I get back to what I was doing? Oh, Sports Center's coming on. Oh, when's the game tonight? It took me days and days of me time to get to the point where that do list here goes away faster. And then you get into the self-criticism tier. This is where I messed up. This is where I need to be, right? This is not good enough. I'm too lazy. I'm too whatever. I'm too weak. That took me months to kind of get through that, but now I can cruise through that tier real quick. Excuse me. Then the third tier, future past. That I still get stuck on that tier sometimes, and sometimes I just can't get out of it. My me time kind of just gets stuck in that third tier. But the key is, no matter which tier of thinking you get stuck in as you worked into your meditation, you're breathing deeply. And what is that deep breath doing, that focused analysis of the breath doing? It's bringing in oxygen. It's releasing carbon dioxide. What's that doing for the body? It's pumping your lymph system. It's healing you. It's healing. It doesn't require any water. It doesn't require a juicer. It doesn't require self-criticism. It doesn't require, the breath doesn't ask you for anything. All it does is give you life. And like one monk I listened to is like, think of it as a caretaker. Your breath as a caretaker. It's taking care of you your whole life. When have you ever stopped for a second and asked yourself, how can I take care of the caretaker? So I'll ponder these little lessons, and they help me get through my tears. This is my time to take care of my breath. And of course, the more I take care of it, the more it takes care of me. It's very synergistic. And so the fourth tier is the big tier for me, and I think for many others, when you're working through your mentality, getting control of this crazy psychotic mind, so it stops. Your mind's you're either using your mind or it's using you. I believe that wholeheartedly as I go through this. We got to get control of it, tame it down. And that's the kind of the one of the many satisfying results of meditation is, but probably the main result is getting control of this mind. That's what we have as the mind. The world's going to constantly throw trash at us, and what we have control over is, do we eat and consume the trash, or do we just say, hey, well, that's something unpleasant and I'm not getting involved with it? This all comes back to a tame mind, giving it a comfortable, quiet corner in the present moment to that's what this breathing and working on your breathing and meditation is all about. Nice, calm, comfortable, quiet corner. Make the present moment very comfortable, because if you don't, the mind doesn't want to stay. It's going to get stuck in that future past here. It's going to be like, I don't want to stay here because I don't want to go to level 4. I don't want to deal with the psoriasis thoughts. I just want to hide from it and run away. And then you're running away into tier 3, future past, and then your mind's boggling, and you're then you'll realize you've been sitting there in your me time, you haven't been breathing because your mind's taking control again. So get back to breathing and work through these tiers. And you won't even really know what tier 5 is yet. I'm just now realizing what tier 5 is for me, because I'm just now getting to a space where I can get past the psoriasis, intrusive thoughts of psoriasis, accepting, embracing, surrendering, removing the fear, doubt, the anger, all these associated emotions. And what I'm realizing is tier 5 is for me is that it's not psoriasis at all. The fear, the doubt, the negativity, it was all there before psoriasis. All of it.
all these wounds I was holding on to, the type of person I thought I was, the reckless abandon I lived by, the work hard, play hard that I've done my whole life, the I'm better off alone. This is where I'm at now at Tier 5. Any wounds from my conditioning, my upbringing, where I felt I was wronged, what I expect from other people, why they aren't doing what I expect them to do. Tier 5 is this, for me, is this real self-realization. It's an abyss, and you're kind of falling down and down and down. Not like into a dark pit, but you're falling down into these spaces that are deeper than the psoriasis or any other ailments or illnesses you're dealing with too. and that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm just kind of now slipping into a Tier 5 because I can get past the psoriasis for a bit and focus my breathing and you'll see it'll come up. This is the point of meditation. It comes up. You don't know what it is, and you don't really have any expectation, but it starts to come up, and you start to realize where you need to work. And one of the many nice things of coming out of me time a half hour later, I rebooted my systems. I'm back to a default, which is the affirmations I spoke about earlier. That's my default. I get up from that. I feel relaxed. I feel rejuvenated because I've brought in a lot of oxygen and released a lot of carbon dioxide. I drink my alkaline water and I go into my protocols. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, go down there and make something good and healthy to eat. If I'm going to have a glass of wine tonight, then whatever. I'm not going to beat myself up. Coming out of this me time and work with meditation, you're going to stop being so critical of self. And you're not going to generate so much stress around the process. This isn't going to feel like some awful thing that you have to do. It's going to be more just a part of life. There's many parts of life, but meditation, self-love, self-affirmations, and now I'm realizing those two are like a bridge now to what I feel is very fundamental, which is subconscious wounds, things that we don't maybe even bring to the surface and think about, really drive that fear and that anger, whatever those negative emotions would be, insecurity, anxiety, stuff that drives us into depression, stuff that drives us crazy, stuff that makes our heart beat rapidly, stuff that generates tumors, deep emotions that are extremely powerful, and if we don't work through them, they hide and linger down there like time bombs. And for me and for us and for many out there, these time bombs pop up on the skin, blow up through the surface, and they just keep exploding in inflammation. So anyways, I've gone on and on about that, kind of maybe more than I had originally intended, but I feel it's really important, and I feel that's why I'm more comprehensive in my healing approach now. And like I said, I'm getting better every day. I'm really happy to have so many people walk in with me and taking their journeys, and I love seeing other people's results and their progress, and I also appreciate seeing people who are willing to post the hard stuff they're going through. It's extremely important to share. That's why I'm so happy that Tandy and Julie and Sabrina and I over the last 3 years have been able to create a place where people feel comfortable sharing. It's fantastic. Posting something to other people that you don't know about what you're going through is very therapeutic. There's a lot of value in that, even if you feel like it's not intuitive or if it's not constructive. Letting it go is so constructive. We cannot let things smash into a wall. That's what I think stress really is. It's just this wall that energy smashes into. Energy needs to circulate. What did I say earlier in this call? The body is a functioning mechanism of systems that absorb nutrients and eliminate waste. Absorb nutrients, everything is circular. Nature is circular. The powers of the universe are circular. The Earth rotates on its axis. It revolves around the sun, as do all the other planets and moons of the planets. Tap into that stuff. Realize that you're part of a greater thing. We're not alone. We're not doing this alone, and we're able to connect with each other, and we're part of something more important than ourselves. And and this psoriasis is awful. It's terrible, but you become a willing student. It's a very good teacher. Everything that I'm doing to help clear my skin and reduce this inflammation is also helping lower any risks of cancer, lowering risks of stroke, lowering the risks of the cardiovascular disease, the heart attacks that are wiping out 52% of 52-year-old men. That percentage is going up, that age is going down. We got to break these patterns. And all this clean eating and all these diet protocols and water and healthy eating and removing out the refined crap foods, it's all helping the body get back to what it is inclined to do, which is heal itself. For as much as the conventional belief is that the body attacks itself, I believe, and I'm just proving to myself, and others are proving to me every day, that the body heals itself. That's what it innately and genetically is coded and designed to do. But just like if you have a computer that has viruses and and malware in it, and it's not working right, just consider your body in that metaphor is the same thing for the body. We're full of viruses and mold and heavy metals, and we're pumping in terrible fuel and not taking care of ourselves, and the operating system starts to malfunction. And it's the same direct analogy. So we just got to do what we can to clean that stuff out. But just as much as cleaning out the physical toxins, we got to work on those emotional toxins and those mental toxins. And that's where a huge part of my personal practice has been going, and where I'll be sharing a lot of information. And I look forward to doing some guided meditations as I get more into myself. That I'll do those as Facebook Live videos we can join in, and as the big part of the surveys, we understand what's taxing the body. What medications are taxing the body, but also the lifestyle is taxing the body. Emotional trauma is taxing on the body as well. I'm looking at my notes here, make sure I'm covering what I wanted to cover. Yes, okay. I think that's good. I had a list of causes and solutions to those causes, but I think I'll do that. I'll save that for another video. I've already kind of gone on today, and I don't want to go over too much in any one video because I want us to take away from these videos something specific to practice. So the specific takeaway for today from this video is working on that me time out, and just carve a little time in your day where the noise is lower the noise, and see where your mind is going, see where your thoughts go, and see if you can work through them, see if you can let them go as much as they come, and then move on to another tier and see, if it's something that won't leave you alone, write it down. Writing it down is therapeutic. It'll help you move on to the next set of thoughts that you can work through. So find that me time every day. And I'm here for you, or at Tandy and Julie and Sabrina and our moderators are here for you. Let's talk about it. If you want to share your thoughts, if you want to write it home in the group, or you want to write it privately to me, you go ahead. Process things, let them go. Tell somebody about it. If you don't feel comfortable and your family's critical of you, believe me, I understand that. Friends don't understand, and they're critical of you. Why don't you just go to your doctor, you idiot? All that stuff. That's not the place to share it. And come in here, share in here. Share it privately. Share it with one of us. Share a private message. Write out what you're thinking. Work through it. Work through it. Don't let it hit a wall. Don't let nothing hit a wall. You start to feel the anxious breathing where you're just about to tense up and you're about to explode. Take some deep breaths and circulate and process and let things go. Because they're going to come right back. Let them go again. Okay. Let me scroll through the side here. Tandy's been helping people, so that's great along the way here in the comments. Let's see if we have it very well. I don't know if it'll let me go all the way to the top, but hey, Imran, thanks, man. In the house from Pakistan. Great to see you, man. Checking in. It's late there, huh? Hey, Deb. Love you. Marvin, what's up, man? Nice to see you too, bro. Hey, Mila, how to prevent a flare-up? Well, Mila, flare-ups are generally what happens when, with the symptoms of this, and when we're trying to heal, we even go through flare-ups because flare-ups are part of healing symptoms as well. So, got to work with, like I said, go to the me time, see where you're at, see what's driving you crazy every day, and see where you can work through those things. Work towards a life with less stress in it. And I'm not saying, oh, well, just have less stress. I know it's work. That's why I'm saying work towards it. I'm doing that myself. Work towards it. and keep on carving down to your real fundamental core. Of course, measure your elimination in your diet and measure foods that cause inflammation and make sure you're well hydrated and all that stuff too, of course. Source other things too. If you haven't completed my survey yet, go to phwarrior.com/survey. Fill out some of those answers there. And I can take a look at that, and we can talk about you specifically, because this is an individual thing. I mean, each one of us is very unique. Each one of us is an individual that has a completely different set of circumstances and conditioning and life experiences and toxins that we've consumed that we don't even know about that are festering in our guts and our bowel. So the survey is a great place to individually lock in on what each person needs to focus on. So check that out, and we'll nail down each cause that's causing these flare-ups, and we'll reverse them. You reverse them. Takes a tribe, Tandy, for show. Maya's flashing her heart. Hey, Gail. Hey, Kimberly. Jeremy in the house. What's up, man? Enjoy your trip to the Caribbean. Don't go on one of those cruise ships, man. I'm telling you. Go down, get yourself a car, and go get into the culture. Immerse yourself. It's beautiful, man. Angela, what's up, warrior? I'm from the other side of the country. Thank you for that beautiful testimonial you wrote. That was very touching. Excuse me. So Tandy asked a question for people. What are the top 5 things a new member can do right now if you were starting today? You can look at your day, look at your habits, and see what is this? What is it, the stuff that I put in my body? What if it's just habitual habits that I built, and what if it's that I really love and crave? And get those written down. Write down the pros and cons of who you are and what you consume. If you're a person that just religiously stops by the gas station and gets a Red Bull every day on the way to work, get you going. Carve that stuff out. Get that pros and cons list going of the person you are and the things you consume. Number 2, out of the top 5 is the me time. Promise yourself that you're going to give yourself 5-10 minutes a day to get away from the devices, get away from the what you're consuming, get away from the updates, and work with some deep breaths. Go through that affirmation I mentioned earlier, and look in the mirror. Be honest with yourself. Number 3, if you haven't already, get yourself a BPA-free bottle or a glass water bottle, and get yourself a pure water source. Start drinking water. Squeeze a little lemon in it. Squeeze a little lime in it. See how you do. If the lemon's too much right now, just drink pure water. And keep that water bottle with you. Feel naked without it. Number 4, get some fruit in your kitchen. Some bananas, some organic apples, a cantaloupe, some black grapes. Wash them real good. Nibble and graze on some fruits. Have an apple here, a banana there. Just try and graze so you don't get yourself too starved out. So starving works hand in hand with stress. Anxiety builds out of a body that's malnourished. So grazing all day is nice. Sipping on water, you're grazing on fruits. Number 5 is engross yourself in the community here. Post questions. Send us a private message. Fill out my survey. Go to phwarrior.com. Get my free guide. That's where you really can start. phwarrior.com. That's phwarrior.com. Click the button there, and you put in your name and email, and then I'll send you an email there to confirm, and then you can get another email. Will come with a link to the guide. I'll follow up with an email every 10 to 14 days to give you some tips on things that I do. And then there's the survey. If you want to take it to the next level, if you feel like you're ready, then go to phwarrior.com/survey. Fill that out. You'll see by the questions that I'm asking there where we're going, where we're heading with this. So you'll get an idea of the road that you're choosing to go down. So that's 5 things there. Kimberly just says lemon water. I don't know if that's good or bad or her thing. Maybe it's probably her thing. She's a lemon water chick. That's good. We all need to be lemon water people. Yeah, and Tandy mentioned the low stomach acid. Low stomach acid. The stomach, the first part of digestion is in the mouth. Chewing your food really well. Lighter meals. Less fats. Less refined sugar. While you're eating, don't drink liquids because you don't want to wash away enzymes to digest food. So, but that's where it begins. When you're chewing, emulsifying your food with saliva in the mouth. So chew thoroughly, eat slower, relax, enjoy the meal. The next part of digestion, once the food starts going down the throat, runs into the stomach, and the stomach's not talked about a lot. Conventionally, holistically, naturally. I just finished a chapter in Dr. Leibowiz's book last night about the stomach, and something I've read about before in the book The Medical Medium on the stomach. And when the stomach gets weak, it doesn't produce enough hydrochloric acid, these specific blends of acids, and these acids are crucial to breaking down food properly. And also killing off bad bacteria that comes in with the food. No matter how hard we try when we eat food, especially meat, it's still laced with bacteria that's harmful in the body. So the stomach acid is important for killing these little critters off. And when that hydrochloric production starts to fail, then guess what? You have backed up animal fat in the stomach. You have bad bacteria that sneak through into the gut where they cause havoc. And you're introducing much more pressure on the liver or pancreas to break down these fats, bile. It's actually bile that gets up into the stomach, which causes this heartburn. Bile is an alkaline fluid, goes up into the stomach, pushes that powerful acid back up the throat, and that's what you're feeling in that heartburn symptom. Stomach is the gateway, so the food comes down through there. One powerful remedy many have heard talk about before for the stomach is juicing down a half batch of celery in the morning. My juice every morning that I can is half batch celery, handful of cilantro, handful of parsley, and a whole lemon peel. I squeeze the lemon in my water, drink that to cleanse the liver, and then I juice the lemon peel. Of course, I get organic, and I wash and rinse very well. You don't want to introduce those pesticides, but that celery juice is an elixir for producing stomach acid. The mineral salts in celery and the mineral salts in lemon are the fuel the stomach needs to reconstruct itself and rebuild those millions of pores that produce stomach acid. Doing some liquid fasting when you can. If you can have a day of just doing a juice in the morning, an herbal tea, a little bit of coffee. I ain't gonna lie, I drink a little bit of coffee. I know that's not great, but I do have days without it. But if you can do a lot of liquids, do the celery juice in the morning, and pump in some water, and pump in your lemon water, and take your probiotic, and then have yourself an avocado, which fills you up later in the day, and take the pressure off the digestive system by eating less, and that will help the stomach heal. But the celery juice is number one for the stomach, and the lemon water in the morning. That's for the liver too. Kimberly's asking about safflower, maybe the saffron, like the American saffron tea that Pagano suggested. Saffron's a great cleanser, very, very calming on the digestive tract. So is the slippery elm that he suggests. I do slippery elm. Slippery elm is kind of like the building blocks of the gut wall. Saffron's very cleansing, and it's a antiseptic. Any herbal teas really. Priority list of herbal teas is burdock. Let me go here on my list. Burdock, dandelion, nettle leaf, lemon balm. There's a liver detox tea bag, a skin detox tea bag, berry detox tea bag, a ginger raspberry leaf. Those are my priority of teas. Rose hips is another one. Red clover. Those are tea bags that I buy. I got the Yogi brand, the traditional medicinal brand, and I do. But burdock root, dandelion root, nettle leaf, lemon balm, those four are huge. And then you can go into some ginger tea or some chamomile or peppermint, fine. Those teas are great. So I mix those up, bringing a lot of herbals that way. The saffron's a good one. Method to Matt's methods, or method to my madness, one of the two. We're never going to survive unless we get a little bit crazy, like Seal said. So you got to look at it all. You got to look when you're putting yourself on the drawing board. Lay out your chronological timeline of trauma, and car accidents you've been in, any severe injuries you've taken, surgeries you've had, severe infections. If you had mono as a kid, you could barely get out of bed. That's extremely important because mono doesn't just go away when you build those antibodies. That Epstein-Barr virus drives mono. It goes deeper into the body. It hides in the liver. It damages your immune cells. It messes up your nervous system. And a lot of that leads to autoimmune disease, and it's not well documented. There's not medical textbooks that say, yeah, well, this Epstein-Barr virus is driving this stuff. That doesn't mean it's not there. It really is there. It attacks your thyroid tissue. It attacks all your glands, ruins your adrenal glands, because that's what it's trying to do. It's not trying to kill you as a host, but it's trying to weaken you so greatly that your immune system can't kill it. But our immune system intuitively knows it's there, but it can't get at it. So what does the immune system do? It runs around the body creating inflammation and drives autoimmune symptoms. But there are causes to autoimmune symptoms. There absolutely are causes. Dysbiosis in all forms, bacterial infection, viral infection, mold growth in the house that you're breathing in that's causing mycotoxins to go crazy in the body. Immune system responds to all this stuff like instantly, and that immune response sometimes is not constructive. Sometimes it's malfunctioning and it's chronic. So we have to help the body get rid of those things that are causing that chronic response. I'm reading Jeffrey's response here. Yeah, it's interesting, Jeffrey. There's all kinds of microbes, parasites that take advantage of the wounds on top of the skin. So you have to, definitely got to keep them clean, and you got to work with that, or it can cause a reoccurrence. Whether we're going after remission or whether we're working on getting this out of our life for good, we got to get rid of the factors and then the cofactors. Got to solve the whole equation and balance the equation. Gail says she puts water in her cereal instead of milk. Oh, right. Says it tastes good. I'll take your word for it. Yeah. When I was going through that low, I talked about earlier in my story, Tandy mentioned the admins took over. Absolutely. The group, they kept the group alive. Yeah, Ross, if you already ordered the probiotics, I'll put a link in the comments. But the probiotic I've been using for about, started it January. I'm about halfway into my third bottle. Absolutely amazing, incredible results. I love it. It's really helping general health, helping my skin, of course, helping me sleeping better, digesting better, more energy, absorbing nutrients better. This is a cutting-edge probiotic. I've talked with the guy who makes it, and the strains don't really have names yet. They're not billions and quadrillions of strains, but he calls them microbial metabolites, which they produce all three crucial types of enzymes, but they produce in concentration the metabolic enzyme, which directly influences cell metabolism, cell energy, and cell replication. So it invigorates cells to replicate healthy immune cells and blood cells, and really helps influence the immune system on what's good, what are the good guys, what are the bad guys, and trains it real well. So I'm going to stick with this one for life. I'm happy with it. So yeah, it's fantastic. I'll put the link in the comments. All right. Great, Kelly. I'm glad you got a lot from it. Hope you have a great day. Happy Saturday to you too. You're welcome, Andrea. Have a great day. Afifa, how you doing, girl? You're welcome. What's up, Stuart in Florida? Hey, Tandy, you might want to fix that link, the psoriasisdiet.com link. Switch that over to there's one. The foods is a good one. psoriasisdiary.com/foods. Hey, Julie. Yeah, that's right. Celery, cilantro, parsley for the stomach acids. And parsley is a fuel for the kidneys too. Cilantro is a magic in the fact that it's able to pass the blood-brain barrier and is very effective at removing metals from the body. And it's just a fantastic start to the morning. Hey, Arlene, thank you. Stuart asked about honey. If you use honey, I do use honey. I stick with raw wildflower honey or manuka honey. Make sure it's not refined and processed. Processed refined honey feeds fungus, and it's not good. If you can get a raw unfiltered honey, support your local beekeepers. That's great. And or manuka type or raw honey or an unfiltered honey. The stuff that's more thick, like a butterscotch, not so liquidy. Those honeys are very strong antiviral, very great source of phytochemicals. It makes everything in the body work better. All those bees go around all those different flowers, bring all the power of all those flowers concentrated in that raw unfiltered honey for it. But all right, great. Well, that gets to the end of the questions. So I appreciate everybody who's tuned in. This will be available in the group as a recording. I'm going to post it on YouTube. Get that me time in. And, the me time is crucial. Karen just dropped a question here at the end. As far as digestive enzymes, I would go with that quality probiotic. Those plant-based, soil-based organisms that reach the lower ileum, their byproducts, natural byproducts, are the three crucial types of enzymes. The enzymes that digest food, the enzymes that absorb nutrients, and the enzymes that drive metabolic function in cells, energy in cells. So that's the way to do it. A good clean diet along with that good probiotic to help generate. The link is just above your comment, Karen, the one that I use. I've used about 2.5 bottles. I love it. So that's how I focus on my enzymes. Also, enzymes is the melon fruits. Cantaloupe is a great one. Cantaloupe is basically pre-digested because it contains so many enzymes. That's why fruit is so good, because it doesn't require much digestion at all. Focus on some cantaloupe, some watermelon, honeydew. Those are great fruits full of enzymes. Most fruits are. So if you can start your day, morning into afternoon, grazing on fruits, that just delivers and get your probiotic in. Take your greens. By the time you eat dinner, even if you have a treat at dinner, it's not as big a deal because you've primed your digestive system to handle it and eliminate what it can't use. Remember, absorption, elimination. We have to support this process of the body. That's the recycling bin of the body. It wants to absorb nutrients, wants to eliminate waste. And make sure you're eating your greens, your kale, juicing your greens, your spinach, your red leaf lettuce. Those are your B vitamins. Those bring in those great B vitamins. So you want to get your Bs that way. B12 is part of the intrinsic factor of the stomach. You want to get your stomach healthy because part of the stomach is your intrinsic factor, and that helps your body assimilate and absorb B12. Those little probiotics, those little critters, they also produce B12. And that's the bioavailable B12. Yeah, the diet. Get my guy here. Foods are here. And what I use, that also includes what I use to supplement with. That's also on here. some helpful links, and then my ABCs 1, 2, 3s there, and then I made a 11 video series on psoriasis diet tips for those that like to watch videos instead of read. This is a helpful playlist of psoriasis diet skills. So go through those. These are the diet skills. These are the agreements I made with myself that have helped me stick to it through the ups and downs. But in closing, this is certainly, Adrian asked about candida. Candida, you know, when you're trying to eliminate candida, you want to stay away from the refined sugars. You want to stay away from the dairy sugars. You want to stay away from the rotting meat. You know, not so much meat. And you want to heal up your gut. You know, use herbal teas. Use a good probiotic. Use your slippery elm tea. Build that gut wall back up so the candida stops sneaking out. You know, lemon water, antifungal, knocks it out on contact, which causes symptoms, but you'll get through them. Stay hydrated. Stay away from the refined sugars. That's number one, if you can, for the most part. Just no, you know, candy, soda, those useless sugars. Candida feasts on that stuff. If you're going to have a glass of wine or beers, make sure you drink some lemon water while you're drinking the beer to taint the fermented sugar in the beer, so the candida can't get at it as well. But for the most part, you know, eliminate those refined sugars. I wouldn't eliminate fruit, though. Fruit sugar is not the same as refined table sugar. It's a big difference. Fruit comes along with phytochemicals and antioxidants, stuff that kills candida. It can't get after that. Can't digest those fruit sugars. Body can, though. Body runs on it. Your nervous system and your brain run on glucose. Runs on sugar. Runs on sugar and mineral salts. That's it. I mean, yeah, fatty acids, you know, encapsulate and help the brain, help cells, the cell wall, but nervous system runs on fruit sugar. That's why many times many diets are very popular, stripping out all sugar, including fruit sugar, and people go crazy on those diets because they mentally start to break down. Especially if you have a job where you use your mind a lot. If you're burning, you know, your brain's firing neurons. It's an electrical power plant. It needs those inputs. Mineral salts and glucose. Yeah, I eat fruits. My diet really is built around fruit. I'd eat, I mean, I graze on fruits. I do my celery juice in the morning, herbal tea and lemon water, and then first thing I eat is an apple. I have a banana. I make it maybe a little smoothie with some greens in it, some frozen wild blueberries, some ginger root. Yeah, you know, I graze on fruits all day. That really helps the adrenal glands heal, and it gives a consistent stream of glucose and mineral salts to the nervous system, to your brain and your nerves. Keeps you calm. So, you know, yeah, fruit in the morning into the afternoon, and then I'll have some, you know, avocado, a salad. I do quinoa or sweet potatoes, or if you want to do a little rice, that's fine. You know, some sort of vegetable, steamed vegetables, baked sweet potatoes. I cut them up into fries. Do those as your sides. You have a piece of meat, that's fine. You know, I'm not the food police. None of us are the food police. This is not about the food police. This is about the human research project. So just keep working with yourself. Fruits are good any time of day. Make sure you're eating the skin of the fruits. Organic. If you can't get organic, make sure you soak it really good. Cold water, and I use a specific organic, non-toxic cleaner. But you can also use white vinegar. It works okay. Anything's better than not soaking it if it's conventional. Even if it's organic, I still soak them. So, but cool, y'all. Well, these headphones are crushing my ears. Looks like the sun might peek out here, so I'm gonna make it out on the trail again, do a hike, do some of that meditation I was talking about earlier, do a little nature walk, get that me time in. I'm telling you. Much love, mad respect, more healing. I love you all. Keep up the good fight. Keep fighting. Stay in the game. Keep taking action. That's all that matters. We're here for you. Peace.